Hey guys, welcome to this first live stream on Tropical Storm Beryl. Obviously, you all guys know heard of Beryl. Became a Category 5 in the Eastern Caribbean, but we'll do an update so sorry about that. But anyway, it's now left the Yucatan Peninsula and it's now 60 miles an hour, moving west-northwest at 12 miles an hour. If you live in Texas, you're gonna have to be you have to evacuate because this storm could rapidly intensify at any moment. The Gulf of the Bay of Campeche is the warmest part of the Gulf of Mexico right now. Yeah, it's meant to make landfall at 90 miles an hour, so it could rapidly intensify closer to the coast on Monday. Now, if it moves faster than anticipated, then it will make landfall early tomorrow, late tomorrow morning. But yeah, this is Tropical Storm Beryl. Beryl is now I'm going to show you some satellite imagery real quick. I will get that up soon, so bear in mind. If you got any questions, start your message at Deccan Storms 2 in the chat, and I'll be able to see them then. So show you the satellite imagery first on Tropical Storm Beryl. It doesn't not look as good as what it did a few days ago. By the way, we got the remnants of Tropical Storm Eletta that was out in the Atlantic Ocean. It didn't really do much. It didn't stop blowing up some convection yesterday though, but it wasn't enough to sustain itself. But Beryl, yeah, you can see Beryl does not look good. This is why Beryl needs to organise before it can even rapidly intensify again. Which, this is why I don't think it's going to get to 90 miles an hour. But at the same time, this storm could get to 90 miles an hour. You know what I mean? But anyway, later on there'll also be an animation coming out, and there'll be a documentary on Hurricne Beryl coming out. I'm working on that right now, so that will come out in a couple of weeks' time. So stay tuned for that. Just waiting for it to load. While we're waiting for it to load, I will show you the Wikipedia page in a minute. They do believe that Beryl did cause $1 billion of damage in Karaku Island when it made landfall last week at 150 miles an hour. They did get flight readings of 153 knots, which would be about 160 miles an hour, but it was flagged, so yeah. Beryl did peak as 175 miles an hour on my analysis, but the NHC believed it was 65 miles an hour. $5 billion of damages and 16 deaths on Beryl so far. The storm is definitely going to get retired for sure. I mean, this is unprecedented for this time of year. Definitely, 5 billion. That was the damage in Jamaica, and that's damage from damage in Barbados, the Windward Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Australia, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and the Yucatan Peninsula. All of that together, plus damage it will do in Texas as well. So, so 16 people died this hurricane season so far, which we don't want. We don't want fatalities. We don't. But $5 billion of damage as well in early July is kind of insane. Because this storm was a Cat 5 on the 1st or 2nd of July. The earliest Category 5 in Atlantic history. The earliest Category 4 in Atlantic history. The first storm to make landfall was a Category 4 on Jamaica in history. The strongest storm to hit the Windward Islands. The strongest storm to hit the Windward Islands in June. Pretty much, this storm has broken records, and we could see more records being broken. But we could have a quiet July. We could see the remnants of Invest 96L reforming the Gulf of Mexico, which I'm not confident on that yet. But as soon as I'm confident on it, I'll probably do an update on it. But yeah, Bell is not looking good at the moment, but the rainfall is not a threat for this system. Probably only going to get 6 millimeters of rainfall, which is not really a lot if you ask me. Compared to Harvey had like 50 million, over 100 millimeters of rainfall. This system, done. This won't be another Harvey, but it could rapidly organise very quickly. Because you know what the Bay of Campeche is like this time of year. Definitely, the Bay of Campeche is 2 degrees above the long-term average this year. So we don't know if Bell will get retired for sure. But without a doubt, I think Bell will get retired. Depends how much damage it causes in Texas. Now, if it causes a lot of damage in Texas, then yes, it will get retired. But this is what Bell looked like when it was a Cat 5. It was a beautiful looking storm, incredible looking storm. It was a Cat 5 for 15 hours, and it's the strongest. It's the strongest Category 5 in the Eastern Caribbean since Hurricane Maria in 2017. And you see, the Caribbean has not been active in the past 8 years. 2015 unactive, 2016 it was average, 2017 average, 2018 below average, 2019 below average, 2020 I'll say yeah, it was at height well above average, 2021 average, 2022 average, 2023 below average, 2024 we could see 2024 we could see a resurgence of the Atlantic, of the Caribbean. Now this is the problem with these storms. This is the problem with this warm water over here. The stronger the storm is, okay, yes, I know, but the ridge is very strong, so the ridge will just push it further south and then eventually push it towards Jamaica and Hispaniola soon. But that's what the tracks are so far. But yeah, this is what Tropical Storm Alberto looks like. Not really, doesn't really look that good. Yeah, this is what the track was on Tropical Storm Alberto. Now, this is what the actual storm looks like of Bell. Look at that. Hurricane Bell at peak. Beautiful eye. More of an annular hurricane than what it was when it was over here. But yeah, this is, and also this is the track, but it's not quite finished on the track yet. It just needs, the track will come out when the storm is completely finished. But yeah, this storm so far has cost 300 and something, 38 or something. I think it's like 40 something ace now. Chris actually looked a lot better than Alberto, and this is where Chris formed. It was a very short-lived tropical storm, actually, very short-lived. And yet Chris was not expected to reform. Chris was not expected to form, but it did. So, and it came from the Western Caribbean. No, it came from the MDR. These systems came from the MDR, but don't forget, it wasn't favourable at this time in the Caribbean. It's not favourable at this time of year in the Caribbean. So you don't usually see storms in the Caribbean. You can see them in July, but further south, like near Panama and Nicaragua and Honduras, and near the Yucatan. But anywhere east of Jamaica, here, you can't see them. Now this is why this system, because this system was struggling with wind shear when it was in the yeah, and this is when Beryl was back off over here, when Beryl was a tropical storm. This system was struggling to get its act together. We went into the Gulf of Mexico, and then the Hurricane Hunter took off from, I think, with Louisiana or Texas, and investigated the storm. They realised it had a low-level central circulation, and then it got designated as a tropical depression, and then they realised, oh, it's a tropical storm, let's name it for an example in Veracruz. So, and then made landfall in Veracruz, Mexico. Not really that much damage though, I mean, probably like, what, 100 million for sure? No, probably even 100k. It's only like 40 miles an hour. Could have got 45 miles an hour, but don't forget they'll upgrade these in post-season analysis as well. I don't think Alberto was 60 miles an hour. I think Alberto was 50 miles an hour for sure. Same with Bell. I don't think Bell was 165. I think it was 175. So anyway, I'll show you the satellite imagery. Right. Yeah, as you can see, it does not look good, this system whatsoever. It's not really producing the amount of convection that we hoped it was going to produce. No viewers at the moment, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right, that's it. Right. It will probably take a bit because we're live, of course. Yeah, but this storm will hit Texas. Death for sure. The storm will hit Texas. Definitely will hit Texas for sure. Now, it was supposed to hit here near Mexico, but if we went further north, it took a more northerly track when he went over the Yucatan. So that's why Texas, you're in the cone. So it could shift further. It could shift further west, and if it does, then Louisiana will be in play. But I'm not saying that Louisiana will get this storm. Just saying that you guys have to be. We'll be live until the next advisory. So soon as the 6 AM advisory comes out, then we'll be live. I'll also have another update later on Tropical Storm Beryl. But yeah, I'm just gonna refresh it to make sure the actual update is out. I think the update's like in an hour or half an hour. So we should have it should be 65 miles an hour, or it could be weaker in the next update, which I think it probably will be weaker in the next update because it don't have the convection that that we were all saying about. Let me check what time it is in Florida, because see when the next update is. I know this update probably came out an hour ago, I think, or 2 hours ago, so I think there's an hour left, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6:12. So that 7 AM revised will be out in an hour, so here we go. So it should be the 6 AM advisory now. Should be. Let me refresh the page. See. Okay, now still the 4 AM advisory or 5 AM advisory, but yeah. Let's have a look, see any more elements of Invest 96 now, which I believe is over by the Yucatan now. Could it reform? Yeah, again, it might not. Let me show you the East Pack. We do have a letter out there, by the way. So you'll be joined by this guy in the next update, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you live in Texas along that coastline, don't matter how strong the storm is, if it's a Cat 1, a Cat 2, a Cat 4, or Cat 5, evacuate. Because this is going to be a 90-mile-an-hour hurricane. It can get to 100 miles an hour easily, like that. This could be a high-end Category 1 when it makes landfall on Monday. So, hopefully, stay tuned for that. We'll also see your local agency about the storm, how strong it's going to be, what the rainfall is going to be like. So I will show you the East Pack right now, Eastern Pacific. Also show you the East Pack on Wikipedia in a sec, but I need to show you the IR satellite loop. Wait for it to load up. Yeah. This is what, well, a letter is over here, obviously, because it was short-lived post-tropical cyclone letter. Winds of 20 knots and 25 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure of 1,007 millibars. Located at 18.4 degrees north and 11.6 degrees west, moving west at 9 knots, which is 10 miles an hour. So this is a letter. It did get named. I will show you. You look back at archive. Back to 4th of July. Here, 15 Zulu, 15 UTC. This was when it had winds of 35 knots. Was it? This is when it had winds of 40. It actually got to 45 miles an hour, 40 knots, which is kind of impressive. Definitely, but it rapidly did move off towards the north. Yeah, this was Tropical Depression 1E at this point. It was expected to become a tropical storm. It wasn't actually expected to become a tropical storm. It was a tropical depression. The NHC thought it was going to stay as a tropical depression for 1 day and then, you know, completely weaken. Which it didn't actually surprise people and actually became a tropical storm. Even I said it could become a tropical storm, but a very short-lived tropical storm. And at 21 Zulu, it became a tropical storm. Tropical on my letter. Pressure of 1005 millibars. Maximum sustained winds of 35 knots, which is 45 miles an hour, with winds gusting up to 45 knots, which is 50 miles an hour. Winds and seas are gradually in each quadrant rapidly in nautical miles are the largest expected anywhere in the quadrant. And then obviously it did weaken, which yesterday. We'll have a look at the 3 o'clock UTZ. It was still tropical storm Aletta at this point. Well, yes, with winds are still 45 miles an hour and a pressure of 1,005 millibars. 9 o'clock UTC. Definitely, this storm was probably a depression. Yeah, tropical storm depression. Tropical depression Aletta. 30 knots with gusts up to 40 knots. So, yeah, pretty much weak. And then I think it became a remnant low between the 15 UTC yesterday. We still a tropical depression yesterday. Then 21 UTC. It still was a tropical depression, so it's not long just became a post-tropical storm. It did blow up some. It was starting to blow up some good convection yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, but that didn't really stop it from weakening. Maximum sustained winds 20 knots, with gusts of up to 30 knots, which it's now probably a tropical storm Aletta. But I'm now going to show you the Atlantic, because if you have a look back at Aletta, no, not Aletta, Bell, yeah, between Corpus Christi and Brownsville, Texas, you need to watch out for this system. Forecast advisory, right? This is what it was supposed to look like. If you look back, yeah, this is forecast advisory. 50 knots. Estimated minimum central pressure 1,001 millibars. Maximum sustained winds 50 knots, which with gusts of up to 60 knots, 50 knots and 40 degrees east. 12 feet of storm surge is actually expected, which is kind of kind of intense the storm is going to be for sure. Could rapidly intensify, but could not rapidly intensify. You never know. It might not. Yeah, again, it might rapidly intensify. So you don't really know what's going to happen with the storm, do we? So anyway, trying to go back. Because you can't go back and look at the older forecast advisories. Yeah, if you have a look at Bell right now, you take a look. Friday the 29th of June, Saturday, 3 o'clock UTC. It was still, I think it was still a tropical depression at this point. And this was 4 AM BST. By the way. Yeah, Tropical Storm Bell. This is when he got named. Now, if you have a look, it was only expected to become a minimal tropical storm. Outlook. Yeah, it's only expected to become a minimal tropical storm, but that did not happen. And obviously, if you have a look on Bell, I'll show you. It became a Cat 5 on July 1st, July 2nd. Hey. Yeah. Really welcome. No. No, I'm not sure if it will rapidly intensify, no. But it could. But it needs to get itself organised first before it can even start rapid intensification at this point. But yeah, if you have a look at the archive, July 1st, can't believe it's July 6th already, mate. But yeah, July 1st, if you have a look, Monday, July 1st, 2100 hours, 21 UTC, which is 10 o'clock my time, by the way. Hurricne Bell. $60 knots. Maximum winds of 30 knots, which is 60 knots. 30 knots, if you put that in perspective, that is 160 miles an hour. 160 knots miles an hour. That is 155, I think, if I'm not mistaken. No, 160 miles an hour, yeah. 165. It did get up. Yeah, 130 knots, man. 130. $130 knots. Yeah, that's 150 miles an hour. So and then by the 2nd, which is on a Tuesday, I think it was. Yeah, winds of 30 knots, gusting up to 60 knots. But back at the advisory on Tuesday at 3 o'clock, this is when it became. This is when it moved into the Eastern Caribbean. And at that point, the thingy that I showed you, 140 knots. This is when it peaked. 140 knots. This is when it peaked. Which is 161 miles an hour. I did get to 145 knots, which is 166 miles an hour. which if you if you extrapolate that, that's 165 miles an hour. So it got to 165 knots, and 100. It's got to 165. It got to 145 knots, and 166 miles an hour, which is 165. If you round it up. But yeah. It was a beautiful looking storm, actually. It was. And at this point, winds were gusting up to 70 knots, which is 200 miles an hour, I think. Yes. Winds were gusting up to 170 knots. Yeah, so winds were gusting up to 195 miles an hour. And then, because it was because they believe it got to 175 miles an hour, 150 knots, which is 155 knots, yeah, which is 178 miles an hour. But if you calculate that, which is 103 knots, yeah, they believe it got to 103 knots, which is 176 miles an hour, which they believe, if you have a look back at recon data, you could see 153 knots flight level SFMR. So, and it was not flagged. It was not flagged as well. The NHC missed its peak. But they will look at that data, and they'll go back, post these analysis,